Và bây giờ xin được mời tất cả quý vị chúng ta hãy cùng đứng lên cái lần lễ chào cờ. Xin mời quý vị chúng ta cởi bỏ nón mũ, chỉnh trang y phục. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the national anthem. Quốc ca.
Oh dear, here we go, folks. Loudness has begun here inside the Windu Gymnasium. And I'm just wondering why they couldn't position the drum somewhere across from us right now. Noel's out of there with Coach Todd Curbs. And we are about to bring the action between the Saigon Heat, already clinched the playoff spot, and the Singapore Slingers. If they win today, playoff implications come in.
Slingers have got their backs against the wall here. Definitely want to get this win. They're going to have to play Zamboanga in that final game. They want to get this W right now against the Saigon Heat. Likewise, the Saigon Heat looking to secure their position in the playoffs. They want that favorable matchup in front of this home crowd, and this home crowd is electric, Noel.
I was just coming up from the restroom, heading over here. It's a privilege right now to be able to speak in this softer voice, but you can see the important matchup that we have here. Let's talk about Kentrell Barkley right now. 26.3 points per game. This guy can shoot the lights out.
He's taken over as the do-it-all guy for the Singapore Slingers that Xavier Alexander used to have. And while X is still with the squad, Kentrell Barkley is now the big-time scorer. And when you're scoring over 26, 11, and almost 7 assists a game, you're doing it from every position on the floor.
And you got to remember, this kid's left-handed too, so he can actually take you to the hoop if you try to close out on him. But his scoring has been very essential. Of course, this is still a veteran-laden team. Now let's talk about Evan Charles Gilliard right here. Almost the same averages in terms of points.
This young man, Gilliard, might be as quick a player as we've ever seen in the ABL. He can get to any spot that he wants to, not necessarily as explosive as O'Darian Bassett, but even quicker. So when he's able to get to the positions he wants, drawing that help defense, he's going to make the game easier for his Saigon Heat teammates.
And of course, looking at this important matchup right here, it's going to be speed versus a lot of offense. But we're also going to talk about the central figures as well. Xavier Alexander is still Xavier Alexander, no matter what you say. Yes, probably the years are starting to catch up with him as we take a look at our veteran officiating crew right here, led of course by our crew chief at the left side, Natapong John Tapa. But we're talking about Xavier Alexander, one of the 10 best imports that the ABL has had in its history
of all time, and he continues to attack the rim relentlessly over these years. Here's the starting lineup there.
Yeah,
for Singapore.
He is going to be starting alongside Kentrell Barkley as well as Chancellor Geddes, and Delvin Goh, the veteran, is there. Also joining them will be Ma Jun Hao. So Larry Liu will be coming off the bench for the Singapore Slingers. Some of their veterans, of course. We all know what Coach Neo Beng Shak has done over the years for this program. He has just really transformed Singapore basketball all by himself.
And ABL fans, don't forget about Delvin Goh.
Yeah.
That used to be the combination, both go and low,
yeah,
down low.
That's right.
And the two of them would put in work. Go continuing to be a real stalwart on the offensive end, especially around the rim. But you're exactly right, Noel. Coach Neo's had this team executing for years now, and they're going to do some high-level things in terms of defensive situations as well that Coach Matt Van Pelt is going to have to respond to.
And you were chiding Coach Matt Van Pelt about the color of his suit here today.
Obviously, I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that Matt Van Pelt is going with the maroon suit. Looks as good as can be tonight. Can't wait to see if his team can perform at the high level he's dressed at.
Well, you know what? They've already clinched the playoffs, so they're actually playing the role of spoilers here for the Singapore Slingers. Clinching the playoff spot already. Saigon Heat, the NS Matrix, Malaysia, they're through. They are secure. Hong Kong Eastern could clinch tomorrow. Now, the question is, can Singapore actually eliminate the Zamboanga Valientes with a victory today?
Now, while the Saigon Heat have clinched their position in the playoffs, they can still move up in the rankings to determine who they face in the playoffs. So this is not a given game where they care if they win or lose. They should absolutely want to have that higher position to face a more favorable matchup in this final round.
And we talked about the Singapore Slingers and their journey here in the ASEAN Basketball League. They've been in the finals 4 times, but have never closed out in the finals.
They've been so good for so long. Not necessarily hitting that great mark where they're better than everyone else, but they just compete at a high level. Part of that is bringing in players like Xavier Alexander that have been consummate pros, but this is a year where not only can they sneak into the playoffs, with the addition of the big fella Geddes and Kent Barkley, I think they've got a chance to go on and maybe have a shot at winning this tournament.
Well, of course, for the Saigon Heat, we also know them as a team that would usually make the playoffs but don't really get very far. It looks like that trend is changing this year.
The fans are unbelievably excited to see the Saigon Heat. Can they come out and do the same things they did the other night against the Macau Black Bears? Well, can they continue it roll? I can't wait to find out.
I'm so grateful we have headsets on right now because we are surrounded by thunder sticks as we speak here, Coach. And Coach Todd Purves and I are going to have our throats full in this one. The light shirts belonging to the Singapore squad. Red shirts, of course, to the Saigon Heat. And we are underway here.
And Hassan Thomas selected to go with the jump ball right there. The new heritage player, Vietnamese-American, with the jump ball, playing the power forward position for the Saigon Heat.
Here's Barkley right now. Looking for a friend. Ma gets it inside. First offense now. Geddes on the spin, and Singapore scores first.
And Coach Matt Van Pelt going a little bit bigger lineup here, adding Tim Wall to his first 5 in order to match up with the size of Singapore.
Gilliard, he's going to be running around this court a lot as he did last Sunday. And it was almost they almost lost that lead against the Macau Black Bears. Look at the rim protection there by Geddes. However, the Saigon Heat are not going to have any of it.
Geddes certainly with the size advantage, but Combs trying to use his quickness around the rim to get that shot up before Geddes has an opportunity to block it.
Singapore wanting to get everybody involved. Here's Ma, corner 3, in and out. For the Saigon Heat, of course, they would like to run a lot here, Coach.
And I don't blame them. When you have a point guard as quick as Gilliard, he's going to get you in that open floor.
Every time they score, this place looks like, it feels like it's about to erupt.
And on a midweek game, we're still seeing fans flow in here, and I can't wait to hear the second half. It's going to be ecstatic in here.
Here's Delvin Goh. That wide body of his, of course, still a member of the Singapore national team. The great Xavier Alexander on the fall-away, can't get it to go. So far, the defense of the Heat has held up. Another three on its way. What are the key now, right? Of course, Saigon, I mean that Singapore, you don't want to run with these kids right now.
You don't, and when you can get good outlet passes like the Saigon Heat just had, it gives yourself an opportunity.
Bartley with a miss, and it's still 4-2 in favor of the Saigon Heat. Gilliard trying to up the tempo right now. Quick ball movement again for the Heat. Three-pointer this time drops. And is Holden able to get that one to go?
And Holden's been able to score not only from outside, but attacking the rim. Very versatile for the Saigon Heat.
Jarius Kasim Holder making it now a 5-point lead for the home team. Geddes hit a hook shot earlier, hits another one here.
Saigon Heat choosing not to help or double team off the big fella Geddes. He went and took his time right there, got the jump hook.
He's got the big country Reeves vibe working for him right now.
Very much so, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Saigon Heat make an adjustment.
Pick and roll action that time. Another basket here for the Heat. On the roll that time was Jeremy Combs.
Combs has been active around the rim, rolling and playing defense all throughout this fourth stop here in Ho Chi Minh.
Geddes owns all the points now for the Singapore Slingers, making it a 9-6 scoreline. Visitors still down by 3. We're going to have an early sub here for the Saigon Heat.
Well, Tim Wall's going to come out and Phu Vin's going to come in. Different style players, both bigs for the Saigon Heat. But Phu Vin, dangerous from three-point range, where Tim Wall is going to play around the rim and use that physicality.
Again, the Saigon Heat also in the middle of a rebuild, but you like where they are in terms of the team standings at 9 wins and 3 losses.
And the Singapore Slingers have already gone to their zone. Right there, the Slingers have gone to a 2-3 zone and got to stop.
Gilliard couldn't get it to go. Barkley has to step back right now. Delvin Goal facing up. Delvin Goal with a reverse, but he missed it.
Goes so crafty around the rim, but couldn't get that one to fall.
Here's Holder now getting it over now to Gilliard. You can see Gilliard wants to penetrate and create mismatches with his speed and try to kick it out.
He's got a mismatch right now. Right. No, did not take advantage of it.
3-pointers missed though. Holder couldn't get it to go, and it will still remain with the Saigon Heat.
We've got some real interesting matchups on the floor right now. With Phu Vin guarding the big man, yet he's a big and top player. Let's see if anyone can stop Gilliard off the rim.
Todd Thomas on the miss that time. Here's Gilliard now on a quick play. Holder tried to block, or tried to dunk, but he was blocked by Delvin Goal. And they got him for the hit on the hand. There you go.
Matt Van Pelt reaching down deep into his archives of baseline out of bounds plays. Getting a man to slip to the basket with a good look.
That looked like a Todd Purves play, by the way.
No one tell Matt Van Pelt that.
At the free throw line right now, this is Jeremy Combs. And I'm telling you, in my experience covering games here for the Saigon Heat, where it was not in this building. This building is brand new, and this building has got really good air conditioning. We can feel. We were over at the CIS Stadium. They would actually cheer their lungs out for free throws made.
I'm also familiar with it. And that Saigon Heat crowd, even in the earliest days of the ABL, was the best crowd we had all throughout Southeast Asia.
Well, the best drummers in Saigon are right beside us right now, trying to create a lot of noise. Delvin Goal. Geddes again. He is 3 for 3 to begin this game. Get it out to X. Alexander now 1 second on the shot clock. Does X know it? He does not. He cannot hear. And our officiating crew has to step in. Even they can't hear the buzzer.
And Hassam, man, is understanding. X didn't want to take that three-point shot.
Right.
Took a step back off him, asked him to go all the way to the rack, and then got the shot clock violation because of it.
We're not going to talk much here. Well, nothing's really happening because the crowd has taken over the audio.
And again, the Singapore Slingers have gone to a zone here, Noel. Part of the reason that Coach Matt Van Pelt has come back with Fu Bing, who can shoot from the perimeter, as opposed to Tim Wall.
Because that zone defense has been so active in trying to slow down their offense. Barkley looking for Geddes once again.
Combs working hard to try and prevent Geddes from getting the ball down there in the block.
Barkley still hasn't found his range in this game. Under 5 minutes remaining in the first. It is still 9-6 in favor of the Saigon Heat. Gilliard getting it out. Three-pointer on its way. Still nothing. Oh, nobody back on defense here. And just a late presence there. Was able to change that one up. Gilliard tries to get it inside. Good defense by Go.
Great
Barkley.
defense by Go.
And a slam for Geddes. He is 4 for 4 from the field, Coach.
And he never got across half court defensively on that one. Got the cherry-picking basket to go ahead and continue his streak.
Coach Neo is going to sacrifice a little bit of defense as long as he can get quick points like that. Good seal inside by Combs. There's going to be a foul called, however, against the Slingers.
And that's probably a good foul. Combs had him sealed so deep it would have been an automatic bucket had he let him get the ball.
They're going to get Ma Jun Hao on the foul, and here comes the veteran Larry Liu. He's going to see action for the first time. Larry Liu actually played for another team in a tournament in Malaysia as well, so he's also doing the rounds in the international scene as an import. Still a member of the Singapore national team.
A little sideline out of bounds here for the Saigon Heat.
Gilliard lets it fly. Alexander with a rebound. Larry Liu leaking out. Layup is missed, however. Barkley could not keep it alive, and down goes one of the Heat players.
Wow, great hustle both ways.
Jarius Holder, he's okay.
Trying to throw the ball off the site after the Singapore Slinger defender, but they did call him out of bounds. It was a heck of an effort.
So again, from a 9-2 lead, 6 straight points now for the Singapore Slingers. All courtesy of Geddes from about 2 feet away, including one dunk.
The officiating crew wants to have a quick meeting here. Don't know if they're talking about whose possession it is, or if they're talking about a clock scenario here. We may have to adjust the clock.
Now send it back to 14 seconds, it appears. Alexander takes a quick look at that, Coach. X on the inbound. They want to get it to Geddes once again. Against 3 red shirts. It's the first miss. Second miss because of the block by Fu Bin.
Great weak side help defense from Hassan Thomas initially, forcing the big fella Geddes to shoot it over him, and Fu Bing comes over with additional help to stifle that effort.
How tall is this kid, Nguyen Fu Bin?
Full 6'8".
Wow.
Pick and pop shooter, homegrown player out of the Canton area in Vietnam, and a real fan favorite.
Gilliard, that was almost thrown away. And here's the step back. It's going to work for Holder.
Feeling it right there with the step back, under complete control, and knowing he was going to knock that down.
11-8, finally some movement on the scoreboard for the Saigon Heat as we approach 3 minutes remaining here in the first. Liu getting it to Geddes once again. He still owns all the points here. Larry Liu wants to add to that one, but he will miss. And a whistle to halt play. Referee Nelson Chan says stay right here.
And one thing about teams that are coached by Coach Neal, they never panic.
That's right.
They continue to grind. Up 12, down 12. They're going to run their system and continue to wear you out.
Well, again, if Coach Neal and the rest of the Slingers win here today, the Zamboanga Valientes of the Philippines will be eliminated from the playoffs, and rendering that game that they will be having on Friday, I believe, a non-bearing game.
True. I assure you, Coach Matt and the Saigon Heat would be happy to let Xavier Alexander shoot challenge three-pointers for the game, because his strength is attacking the rim where nobody stops him.
Gilliard right now. It's Barkley taking him on now on defense, and Gall was able to tap that one out. So time down to 2 minutes and 49 remaining here. Delvin Gore getting a lot of burn still in that power forward position. It's a good thing now he's playing power forward. He used to be the center of the team for a long time. And an interception here by Barkley. Trying to get it into Geddes. That pass is a little too low. Another rejection. Great rim protection by Holder.
Hassan Thomas stepping over and getting a piece of the ball, and they're going the other way.
Oh! Gilliard defying gravity there, Coach.
Absolutely. Big-time transition play.
Oh, nobody looking at Geddes, and a great assist pass coming from Xavier Alexander. Geddes with 8 of the 10 now. And also nobody looking at Wynn through Vin.
And what's been a relatively low-scoring first quarter really picking up here in the last couple of minutes.
Last 2 minutes of this first quarter, 15-10 in favor of the Saigon Heat. Alexander puts it on the floor against 2 red shirts. And if there's one thing Xavier Alexander is really good at, getting to the free throw line.
That man is driving to the basket for the last 20 years. And no one can seem to stop him. He lives at the free throw line. Just a class player and a class act for the ABL for the last decade.
Again, one of the best imports in the history of the league. Getting to the free throw line, along with your boy, Stephen Thomas, also getting feted as one of the best imports in ABL history.
Certainly the great Stephen Thomas, one of the great rebounders of all time here in Southeast Asia, one of the 10 all-time greatest players, and a big fan of the ABL. So much love, and the shot goes out to Stephen Thomas and his family.
See, Coach nailed that shot right there. And another thing about Xavier Alexander, he is used to the noise in Saigon, although this is a bigger venue than where we're used to playing over at CIS.
This is true. Xavier McDaniel's seen it all. He's played in big venues with hostile crowds, and it's still come up big.
But he splits the free throws this time. Gilliard high off the glass, doesn't work. Recovery made by Alexander. And there's going to be an ambush foul at midcourt. And they will call this one on Hassan Thomas.
Noel, if there's a quicker player in the ABL than Gilliard, I have not seen it. Because this kid can go 98 feet in a second or two, basically. He really creates for other players, and he's an enjoyable player to watch.
Well, Chan Ding is going to come into the game for the first time. Chan Ding Hua.
Ma Chan playing that combo guard. He can play the 1 or the 2, shoots the 3. Mr. Wiggles, as he's known out in Vietnam, real popular player.
Geddes throws that one away, not on the same page with Liu. So a low-scoring affair here. Who does a low-scoring affair favor?
And I think it favors the Singapore Slingers. They'd like to play a little bit more in the half court with their size advantage, but either team could win here.
Barkley lost it on the recovery. A foul will go against the Heat. They say Gilliard. Gonna see that angle once again. Not quite sure what Gilliard did, though, to elicit the foul.
A real hustle play. Thought they'd call it out of bounds, but Gilliard assessed with the foul. And
Barkley now assuming the point guard role. Barkley gets it out to X. Open 3 for Xavier Alexander. And now it bounces out of bounds.
Again, as great as X is, Saigon Heat are willing to give him that shot.
Right.
They don't want to see him penetrating, getting those and ones.
And you are right. You know, he's so iconic in Singapore that probably when you look back at the history of the Singapore Slingers, you can't overlook what Xavier Alexander has contributed to the squad.
No question.
The drums have overtaken everything here. That's going to be a hold on Liu.
Well, the Singapore Slingers went back to their zone there, and the Saigon Heat tried to take advantage of it, finding the mismatch down on the block from the low man in that 2-3 zone, picking up the foul, and they'll put the baseline out of bounds.
No free throws yet, as that will be just team foul number 4 for the Singapore Slingers. Matt's back in the game.
And another foul for either team is going to put them in the bonus, so it wouldn't surprise me to see them go down low here in the last 50 seconds and maybe attack the basket with those free throws.
Baseline inbounds play. Holder throws it away. That's the 3rd steal for Alexander in this game. Or make that Barkley this time. Barkley with his 1st steal, and he gets the layup to drop.
Saigon Heat bringing the ball down quickly. Will they look for the 2-for-1? It appears they will.
Well, that is a miss, however, for Gilliard. Alexander again with a full head of steam. Spin move. Xavier Alexander can't get it to go. Ball is knocked out. Ma saves it, and Barkley says, we have the last shot if we want it. 6-second difference between the clocks.
Just enough time difference possibly for Saigon Heat to get one more shot off if they can get a stop here. Let's see when the shot's shot. And there it is. One more attempt from the Saigon Heat right here.
Gilliard. Oh, they fouled him and they're in the penalty. Ma was unaware of how many team fouls they had.
Absolutely, and with a little over 3 seconds left, the Saigon Heat are going to head to the free throw line with a chance to extend this lead just by a little bit before the end of the first quarter.
Ma tried to reach for him when he was in front of him. By the time Ma slapped him, he was already in front of him, way behind him. He was way behind. Gilliard, this guy is like Carl Lewis, if you remember Carl Lewis, of course.
On his horse, and I do remember Carl Lewis in those 84 Olympics,
That's
absolutely.
Right. He's requested for a ball change here as well. And you will witness, you will feel this crowd go silent when one of the Heat players takes free throws.
Without question.
We have to lower our voice as well because
now you'd like to see the Saigon Heat get matched up here on the wings, as with 3.4 seconds, Singapore Slingers are going to get the ball out quickly and look to get a quick shot. Are the Saigon Heat here prepared to match up with these players as they get down the floor further for for the Singapore Slingers? Match up with them quickly and challenge this last shot.
The applause for the free throw is like having a three-point shot made. That's what it feels like. Gilliard knocks down both. 3.4 remaining. The Heat have to put this one up quickly. Alexander on the fake, lets it fly. And that's going to do it for quarter number one. A low-scoring affair. Both teams combining for only 30 points. But it has been the Saigon Heat up 17-13 against the Singapore Slingers. We'll be back. Stay with us.
What can they do? On one for the finish. Five seconds to go. Speed towards the basket for two.
Let's go, let's go.
2023 ABL Invitational continues right here from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam as we continue to bring you the action. Noel Zadat is still working alongside Coach Todd Purves. We have some numbers already that we've been given from the first half of action. As you have a tiger lady there right beside you, watch out, she might scratch.
Absolutely. What we're really seeing right now, Noel, is a higher defensive intensity than we've seen earlier in this tournament. Both these teams know there's a lot at stake. A combined 1 for 14 from three-point range. We won't continue to see that happen, but both teams turning up the defense. The Slingers only shooting 28.5% from the field, and then less than 40% for the Saigon Heat. Both teams coming out with defensive intensity. Let's see which one is able to get out in transition with some early buckets.
Yeah, well, after Geddes was able to get the first 8 points of the game, it took a while for the Slingers to go.
And Slingers coming out in the zone right now.
Yeah. Holder going to the side, three-pointer on its way, and that is good. That is Tran Dang Qua.
And for ABL fans, the Slingers coming out in that patent matchup zone. The vulnerable positions are those corners. Corner three, and that's exactly where the Saigon Heat took advantage.
Barkley getting it out now. Ma has it. They want to get it into Xavier Alexander's hands. X going inside. Good defense there by Chan. Here comes Gilliard into the front court. Chan another three.
Slingers back into that 2-3 zone. And the Saigon Heat got another good look from three-point range because of it.
Coach Matt Van Pelt liking the energy here, and he's a young coach as well, Coach Matt Van Pelt. he also brings a lot of energy on the bench.
Without question, as many young coaches there is in Asia right now, fans of Matt Van Pelt are going to watch his career explode as he moves forward, already with multiple championships, and here making a run at another.
Foul called on the Slingers on the drive that time, coming from Jeremy Combs. So getting to the free throw line will be essential also moving forward here for the Saigon Heat.
It is, and as long as Singapore is going to stay in this matchup zone, Saigon needs to continue to attack the basket first, playing inside-outside, getting themselves to the free throw line, or once the defense collapses, getting those wide open threes.
And you notice how we've suddenly become very quiet as well in our commentary, because it's also become very quiet here in this gym. Matt Van Pelt, though, not quiet at all.
These Heat fans becoming more knowledgeable every game, knowing to quiet down when their team's on the free throw line to let him concentrate. But the moment the Singapore Slingers are on offense, we'll hear the raucous crowd again.
Well, 2 free throws missed that time by Jeremy Combs. The same can be said when you go to the Saigon Stadium in Hong Kong. Yeah, Saigon Stadium in Hong Kong. Everybody's quiet as well at the free throws for the Hong Kong Eastern squad, who could clinch the playoffs also in their next game tomorrow. Inside pass, Delvin Go for the layup.
And the Slingers trying to take advantage of the size difference between Xavier Alexander and Quad Tran, getting him to the rim, and when he created the help from Tim Wally, just dimed the big man for the bucket.
Gilliard now picks up Delvin Go on the mismatch. They get it over to the side. Chan for 3, no. Battle for the rebound, picked up by Geddes once again. Here's Geddes right now. Zips it inside to Xavier Alexander. One fake. Alexander lost it because he got hit.
And as we said on the last possession, again, the Singapore Slingers trying to take advantage of Xavier Alexander's size difference over Quad Chan, attacking him in the post there. The help coming a little too late, and he's drawing the foul, headed back to the free throw line.
They call him Quad Tran, right? I learned, though, Coach, that here in Vietnam, the TR turns into a CH. So he's really pronounced Chan.
Yes, Quad Chan is a real proud favorite, also known as Mr. Wiggles.
Mr. Wiggles.
Absolutely, because of his little free throw routine. He's got a great free throw percentage as well. So
like
Mr. Wiggles, always appreciated here in Vietnam.
He spends a lot of time with that hair dryer right after he takes a shower. Looks like Xavier Alexander has a bit of blood coming out of either his face or somewhere else. It looks like, yeah, on his face.
We may have to get a quick cleanup here, if not a substitution.
You can see there Mr. Michael Johnson as well. These are stalwarts of the Singapore Slingers organization right here.
Michael Johnson been guiding the Singapore Slingers along with Coach Neo now for a decade, and this team has consistently increased and gotten better to where they're formidable every year now. So much credit goes to both those guys.
So it'll be Larry Liu taking the free throws in his stead. Larry Liu is usually very reliable at the free throw line. I keep telling the story about Larry Liu. He started out with the Slingers and the Singapore national team as a 6'2" forward. He's close to 6'7" now, Coach.
Coach's dream to watch a guy grow 5 inches after you've already taken him.
That's right. And he is one of the integral parts. I believe he was also the captain of the last Southeast Asian Games of the Singapore national basketball team.
Fairly low-scoring game here, a couple of minutes into the second quarter where neither team has reached the 25-point mark.
That is almost thrown away. Gilliard hits the deck. He's looking for a whistle, and he'll be warned for flopping too.
He thought he had some contact right there, and the referee disagreed, told him to get up and head back down. You don't want to get that flopping call for sure.
That's right. Their captain, number 30, is in the game here, Coach Whale, for the Saigon Heat.
Tim Wall, a real physical player, straight power forward, one of the great players from the Vietnamese Basketball Association, just known for his physical play and hustle play, making the game easier for his teammates.
Oh, he's going to have his hands full here against Delvin Go.
You can see him jamming the high pick right there and fighting through the way he does.
Larry Liu can't knock down the corner 3. Gilliard has it. We're going the other way once again. Holder wants to keep it himself. Bothered from behind by Geddes.
I think Geddes got a piece of that ball from behind, forcing the missed layup.
Geddes playing both ends of the floor right now. Liu lobbing it to whom it may concern. Here comes Gilliard once again. Splits the defense. challenging Barkley, and he gets it to go.
Again, Gilliard able to get to wherever he wants to on the floor just because of that quickness and ball handling skill.
Coach Neo Ben-Shak feels the momentum is heading over to the side of the Saigon Heat, calls a quick timeout for the Singapore Slingers. It is Saigon 22, Singapore 16. We'll be right back.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn McDonald's đã đồng hành cùng Saigon Heat trong ABL Invitational 2023 ngày hôm nay.
Back with us here at the Windu Gymnasium in Ho Chi Minh City. We'd like to say hi to our good friend Arvin Edrosa, who's one of the hard-working members of our operations team in the ABL. He is watching, and he just called me the great Noel Zarate. I don't know about great. Old sounds more like it. Noel Zarate working with a very youthful former ABL Coach of the Year and ABL champion coach Todd Purves. As you can see, Ronaldo Balkman taking in the action here as well. A bunch of the players also, you know, at the end of the day, they're all fans of the game, and they want to come and witness this kind of matchup.
And Balkman due for a nice rest. It's time for him to be able to sit down and watch the game. He's had a lot on his shoulders this week.
We're approaching the 7-minute mark here, and this is second quarter. Delvin Gall.
The Singapore Slingers always with a very methodical offense that goes side to side, reversing the ball exactly like you'd hope. Penetration draws the foul from Barkley.
Well, they're actually getting a lot of fouls called on those drives. That'll just be the second team foul for the Heat, and it'll be Jeremy Combs called for that one. We're at the free throw line. Barkley. You know, he just needs to get his offense going. He's been quiet so far for the Slingers, coach.
Well, no, Kentrell Barkley and Xavier Alexander are the top two leading assist players in the ABL.
Wow.
Very symptomatic of an unselfish offense by Coach Neo, where these guys share the ball enough you could have two guys averaging that many assists.
But of course, Coach Neo would like to see a shooter on his team. That's why Barkley has probably been brought in. He had the great Wong Wei Long for the Singapore Slingers for a very long time. In the meantime, that's also broken up once again. Another turnover, and Barkley slams it down.
And exactly the two players we've been discussing come up with hands in the passing lane, two-man break. Barkley with the exclamation point. And Matt Van Pelt wants a timeout over it.
Good response by the wards of Coach Neo Ben-Shak. That lead has been trimmed down to 2. 22 for the Saigon Heat, 20 for the Singapore Slingers. Back with us here, ladies and gentlemen, coming off a timeout by the Saigon Heat after Singapore had scored in back-to-back fashion. So now 22-20 is our score. Saigon Heat up by 2. And the full-court press being shown here by the Slingers. They have been forcing a lot of turnovers, Coach.
They have. This is very much what we expected. 13 and a half minutes into this game. Evenly played. Saigon Heat worked with their strengths. But the two import players with the Singapore Slingers have come up big.
Holder can't get it to go. Holder stays with it. And again, good rim presence there coming from Geddes. Barkley, oh, nice drop pass inside. Delvin Gall for the reverse. 6 unanswered points now for the Singapore Slingers. We have a tied game. Gilliard now. Getting it inside. Combs dribbled on his foot.
Unforced turnover there by Combs. And the Saigon Heat's going to need the front line of Combs and Fu Ving to step up here a bit and make some plays around the rim.
Alassane Thomas has checked back into the game. Then Nguyen Phu Vinh, 6'8". Looks like he's playing center right now, Coach.
Well, Fu Ving is mostly a pick and pop shooter. He's got great range, legitimate three-point shooter, not necessarily a back-to-the-basket player,
right,
even at that height.
Well, he can learn that along the way. He's a young kid. Denzel Barkley now, getting it outside. Xavier Alexander all day to shoot this one. Three-pointer is short, however. Barkley comes away with the offensive rebound and somehow manages to finish.
The Saigon Heat know that's the shot you want to give to Xavier Alexander, but they did not finish the play with the defensive rebound. Thus, the next shot got the bucket.
We got an 8-0 run ongoing now for the Singapore Slingers. They must win to clinch. Oh, that's a great move. Heading towards the basket there for Thomas.
Great left-hand finish with the new heritage player, Alassane Thomas.
And a heritage player that could be with the Heat for a very long time. In the meantime, Xavier Alexander with a rare turnover. Coach Neil Bengshak says, next play.
And Alassane Thomas expected to be a stellar member of the Vietnamese national team moving forward. He is Vietnamese. This is not an import player.
And you're also telling me the women's team also looking to the United States right now for a few more reinforcements of Vietnamese
The national team of Vietnam on the women's side has a wonderful opportunity moving forward here in the SEA Games and World Championships with the twins out of Gonzaga. They're going to be extremely fun to watch.
Almost a steal, not quite completed that time. Coming from Holder. Time down to 4:33 remaining here in the second. Tied game of 24, so the 8-0 run has been snapped already.
And neither team in foul trouble right now.
Xavier Alexander just puts it up like a set shot and he gets it to go.
And reminding us he can shoot from three. Coach, stop saying I can't have to go to the rim.
That's only 4 points so far here for Alexander, but that's enough to give them a 3-point lead. 27-24 now for the Slingers. And a blocking foul called.
And Gilliard's so quick. Even when you have some fundamental defense, he can explode past you like he did there and draw the foul.
How tall is this kid? He's like about 5'7", 5'8". Gilliard?
He's certainly sub 6 feet, but again, as quick as any player I've seen in the ABL.
And a little bit of a warning here by both officials now going over to Coach Matt Van Pelt. I think it's about face guarding. And, you know, face guarding is something that, you know, referees always warn the players about.
And it's a gray area call. People who try and challenge the shot, yeah, the hand's going to be up by the face, but sometimes you might get called for it. You don't look like you're making a legit effort on the ball.
Right. Another foul called here against the Slingers. That's a push for Ma. So as they extend their defense, they're getting a little overzealous here as well. Larry Liu is going to check back in now for the Singapore Slingers.
And neither team in the bonus, but you don't want those silly fouls 25 feet away from the basket. They put you in foul trouble and can put you in the bonus moving forward.
Well, again, that's back-to-back fouls, though, for the Slingers on this possession. Gilliard now running the pick and roll. Everything but the basket there for Combs. Thomas gets it out. Three-pointer on its way. That is good for Nguyen Phu Vinh.
Non-Heat fans, that is Fu Ving's game. Let me get the ball with an open look from three, and I'm going to take 3 points.
27 all with 3.5 to play here in the first half. Again, if the Slingers win, they clinch. And of course, for the Saigon Heat, already in the playoffs, but presently at number 2 in the playoff seeding because the NS Matrix squad holds that number 1 slot by half a game. Slingers, of course, make that the Heat, of course, would like to be number 1 heading into the playoffs.
They would, but you know, I think any of the 5 teams remaining that are battling for the Final 4 spots are all good enough to win it.
Right.
So for ABL fans, we really don't know, and that's what makes it exciting. So I don't know if the Saigon Heat, if it matters too much, if you're number 1 or number 2, if number 3 and number 4 is good.
But you want to win in front of your home fans as well, and We've
No
moved from the
question about
CIS. We moved from the CIS gym to one of the world-class facilities here in Ho Chi Minh.
Well, you can see these fans are hungry to watch some Saigon Heat basketball and let them come away with the victory against a legit team like the Slingers.
Almost that time for Xavier Alexander. Good defense overall by the Heat. Coming up on 3 minutes remaining here. And the second quarter, Gilliard with a deep three. Timeout called by Leo Benchap. They had an 8-zip lead, an 8-zip run earlier, and now 8 unanswered going the other way. 6 points unanswered going the other way now for the Saigon Heat coach.
Gilliard getting the fans so excited right now. When you can come down court and pull up that three in transition, it's going to force to bring the defense out. And I'll tell you what, if they come out, he will blow right by you because he's that quick.
We're going to see that one once again with 3:02 remaining. Going to see that dunk earlier, of course, coming from Barkley. And Xavier Alexander, of course, coming up with a miss that time. But Barkley has been very, very active on both ends of the floor. For the Saigon Heat, however, step back jumper, Win Fu Vin. That's a name we got to keep remembering right now.
Neither team showing us something we didn't expect. We know Kentrell Barkley and Xavier Alexander were going to be aggressive. We knew Fu Bing could shoot the three, and Gilliard was lightning quick, and we're seeing exactly what we expected.
There's a Tiger lady right there. She had the mallets beside you earlier. Probably was looking for her drums. Wow, this place is loud. I mean, I sort of got used to CIS because it's a smaller gym, but there's a big, it's sort of semi-outdoor gym with just a roof, right? This one, the sound is so contained.
And the fans are ready for it.
Yeah. Oh, another loud gym I remember here in the ABL was at the Gor Kertajaya Stadium in Surabaya, Indonesia. That place was also loud.
That place was rocking. You're right, young Surabaya.
30-27. A whistle. We can hardly hear the whistle from Natapong Jontapa at this point.
And coming out of the timeout, Matt Van Pelt switching to a zone.
Right.
A real coaching trick that when one team takes a timeout, you assume they're going to draw up a play versus the current defense, so you switch your defense up. Knowing that the Slingers drew up a man-to-man play, Matt Van Pelt responding with a zone defense to try and negate that and see if he can make them run something different.
Apparently it was a clock issue. That's why we have a stoppage of play right now. Shot clock is officially at 16 seconds.
And now we slid back into the man-to-man.
There's Alexander. Liu getting a pick from goal. Larry Liu can't fire. Gets it over down to Geddes. 18-footer on its way. He's still scoreless after getting 8 points in the first quarter. Gilliard. Change of pace once again into the land of the trees. Gets it out to Thomas. Swinging around. Combs now. Holder on the penetration, and Holder scores.
Good strong move by Holder, attacking the rim, not settling for that jump shot in a close game.
8 unanswered points this time, and there's the answer coming from Barkley.
Fu Ving needs to make a better challenge of that shot there on the baseline. He's a tall guy. Go up there and get a piece of that.
Under 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. Another foul called on the Slingers. That'll be their 4th team foul. And they'll call this on Geddes.
Still not in the bonus, so we'll have a side out of bounds situation.
For Geddes, it appears that is only his first foul. Here comes Gilliard. The drums are back once again, as I'm about to say. Gilliard now getting underneath the defense, throws it to someone who was supposed to be at that corner. I think that was supposed to be Win Fu Vin.
And Singapore Slingers showing hard on Gilliard on that pick, really trying to stifle him. I'm not too sure they're going to be able to do that the whole game. His quickness is going to get in the lane regardless.
32-29. Barkley finally getting the ball on offense. 12 on the shot clock now for the Slingers. Barkley creates space and scores.
That's a powerful move, using his off arm to create some space over Holder. Holder wanted to push off, but he's not going to get it from the refs.
32-31 now. Slingers behind by a solitary point. Spin move on the solo there coming from Thomas. Doesn't work. Xavier Alexander keeps it himself. Alexander flips it up. Stays with it and scores.
Vintage Xavier Alexander there, coast to coast, attacking the rim. Doesn't get the first to fall, but his relentless mentality. Just tip back, put another rebound in my stat column.
Well, the Singapore Slingers have regained the lead as well here, 33 to 32. Timeout for Matt Van Pelt. We'll be right back. Yeah, you can see that big guy with the bass drum. That's what's causing all of this noise, but he's also getting the crowd into it here at the Nguyen Du Stadium here in Ho Chi Minh City. Let's talk about this gentleman on our screens earlier, Matt Van Pelt, of course. How did he get into coaching?
Well, number one, Matt Van Pelt was a player out here in Southeast Asia. He's played in Thailand, played in Vietnam, was an assistant coach for the Hanoi Buffaloes before being the head coach down there in Saigon. He's done an incredible job winning championships in the BBA and now making his mark on the ABL.
And his team is down by 1 at this juncture, but we have less than a minute remaining and still the entire second half to play, and it looks like another turnover has been forced. The long arms of Xavier Alexander just poking the ball away.
The veteran getting his hands out there up top, getting a piece of it and forcing the turnover.
And unfortunately also for the Saigon Heat, that was off their timeout, so Coach Matt Van Pelt not very happy with the result of that play.
And with less than a minute left, there's nothing less to be expected other than a one-point game here.
That's right. Alexander hit a 3 earlier, getting a pick down from Delvin Goal. X on the step back, 15-footer, not there. Down for the rebound, smallest guy on the floor gets it. Here comes Gilliard into the front court. Surveying, getting it inside. Holmes has been quiet so far today, not anymore.
What a nice move from Holmes. Slip to the baseline, drop step, going with the reverse layup. No help side defense, and he cashes in.
1 second separating the clocks here in the first half. Barkley, the big Mike Geddes is ready. Barkley shoots a 3, good!
Big shot right there from Barkley, but watch how quickly Gilliard can get this.
Oh, another turnover.
No, turning it over.
So I'm going to be very curious when we get our halftime stats how many turnovers the Saigon Heat have given up in this first half. But at the end of the first 20 minutes, it is the Singapore Slingers up 36 to 34 against the home team, the Saigon Heat. And we will be back for more ABL action when we return. Well, that was hardly any transition defense there, as the first basket of the game is scored by Denmark Carino for Team Zamboanga. Shoot, thinking about it, could have traveled that time. McLaughlin comes up short, tracks down his own miss, and there's the slam coming from McLaughlin.
Zamboanga is going to have to stop and prevent some of these offensive rebounds.
Jeremy Arthur right now assuming the point guard position as Chalmers is being shadowed no end by Oliver Shue. To get it outside, Carino has this in his arsenal, and he gets it to go. Carino finally asserting himself on the defensive glass. One man to beat for Rudy Lingana. Does not care if it was a 1-on-3. He's still trying to look for his touch in this game. Dom Gilbert once again bringing it down. Chance Ewing, he can shoot. Instead, he passes inside. Gilbert, all sorts of space, gets it to go, plus the foul.
Down on those second and third opportunities.
James Quecote coming off the bench. His first attempt is money. Now a 10-point lead for the Valientes. A gamble that time by Baldwin did not pay off, and a 3-point play opportunity now coming up for McLaughlin.
Great anticipation from the veteran point guard there, knowing he'd give him the drop pass ahead of time.
Oh, there's Baldwin once again. A little bit of a hezzy before he went up there with the left hand, coach. Let's see what the answer is first to this offense by the Philippine squad. Arthur onto the late pick and roll, going over to Carino with the fall away. How about that? 6'6", 6'7", getting it done. Lingana using the pick from Balkman. Ronaldo's been quiet here in the second quarter. Finally asking for the ball. Makes his move. Ronaldo Balkman with an explosive first step that time, Coach Todd. McLaughlin nowhere to go. That pass is tapped away.
Great hands again from Balkman.
Oh, is that a goaltend? They didn't call it. John Amores might have a case here about that goaltend. Here's O'Darian Benson for three.
And there's the one he needed to drop. Let's see if that's the first domino that gets him going. Zamboanga swarming the big fella and forcing the turnover.
Velorio now getting it over to Lingana. He gets the first step. Rudy bothered that time by the defensive poke. Here's Bassett now into the front court. Gets it outside, but Chance Ewing passed up on an open shot, but Adam Shue knocks it down. 10 seconds remaining here, and they have a 3-point lead. Chalmers asking for a pick. Mario Chalmers now. 2 seconds.
Great weak side help.
Oh, that's going to be a foul before the clock expires.
A 6-point lead, you don't want to melt down just because of a call that you didn't like.
Chance Ewing now. Top of the key. McLaughlin almost lost it, and he does. Picked up here by Chalmers into the front court. Arthur with the layup. And it's taken away this time by Gilbert, and they're going to call the blocking foul on Mario Chalmers. The band bringing down the ball, Ronaldo Balkman and Mario Chalmers. The 5 on the floor now for the Zamboanga Valientes. Chalmers penetrates, drops it over to Balkman. Twice, he still stays with it, but lost it. Gilbert getting it now to McLaughlin. He's got a full head of steam. Lingana. Oh, and McLaughlin divides the defense. Good lead in the early goings of the first quarter. Gilbert bullies his way in, and wow, the lead goes to Hong Kong Eastern. Well, now Hong Kong Eastern has a chance at the last shot. 10 seconds remaining. Neither team has any foul to give. Bassett slips it in to McLaughlin.
Great high pick and roll. McLaughlin really putting his body on him on the screen. McLaughlin with the big three.
And now an 8-point lead for Hong Kong Eastern, matching their largest in this game. Drive by Balkman and a 3-point play opportunity for the Puerto Rican national team member.
It certainly feels that way. We talked about O.D. Bassett's ability to get to where he wants to at the end of the shot clock.
Oh!
He does it again, now with the dime, leading to the 3 and the foul.
Here's Jeremy Arthur now. Getting it to Balkman, who penetrates, and Balkman is going to be called for an offensive foul. McLaughlin got it straight in the face. Bassett gets the first step over to McLaughlin, and he is stripped once again by Carino this time, and there's going to be an unsportsmanlike foul called.
Absolutely fouled on his way to the basket.
Quick shot, It's a miss. Rebound picked up by Nagana, and that could do it. Arthur, they can't reach him. They lob it over, and I think they will still review that last time.
So what you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop, lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't got to preach.
One-on-one, check ball.
You do know this is my house, right?
Yeah, it's my house too.
Take charge, no one can compete. I just do what comes natural. Big time shot by This is what they came for.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the lane, and a slam down right to the rim. Boom, shakalaka, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack. Down by Portland at the corner. What a shot!
Fast, I'm in, and one. Gets it. Athletic
Yes.
move by Saigon.
Oh, has to.
Oh, Darren Bassett says no.
Slam right there. Alex Smith. Oh!
Good press here.
Stolen.
Rise up, boom!
With the alley. Oh!
Dancing, driving. Gun control.
Airtime detonated right there. Coast to coast moves as he finishes it.
Oh, God.
Rise up. Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers. The turn and the burn by Timmy. Oh!
So what you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop, lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't got to preach.
One-on-one, check ball.
You do know this is my house, right?
Yeah, it's my house too.
Take charge, no one can compete. I just do what comes natural. Big time shot by This is what they came for.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the lane, and a slam down right to the rim. Boom, shakalaka, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack. Down by Portland at the corner. What a shot!
Fast, I'm in, and one. Gets it.
2, 1, 3.
Athletic
Yes.
move by Saigon.
Oh, has to.
Oh, Darren Bassett says no.
Slam right there. Alex Smith. Oh!
Good press here.
Stolen.
Rise up, boom!
With the alley. Oh!
Dancing, driving.
Control. Airtime detonated right there. Coast to coast moves as he finishes it. Oh man, rise up. Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers. The turn and the burn by Timmy. Oh!
Back with us here, ladies and gentlemen, moments away from the start of the second half. It is 36 for the Singapore Slingers, 34 for the Saigon Heat in our continuing coverage of the ASEAN Basketball League Invitational Tournament 2023 right here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. The world's out of there with Coach Todd Purves. And looking at some of the numbers from that first half, both teams actually struggling to shoot the basketball. It could be a testament to very good defense for both sides, but at 38% for both teams, that's not going to cut it here.
Agreed, and I realize that, but this is not just a matter of teams missing shots. We've got two teams willing to play defense right now. Both teams know exactly what's on the line, holding each other to 38%, but the three-point shooting has definitely left something to be desired. Neither team able to reach the 30% mark, which is standard, but let's see, across the board, we've got assists and rebounds similar. We're getting exactly what we thought we'd get. The import players for the Singapore Slingers all contributing. Same thing for the Saigon Heat. Let's see whose team can have those bench players contribute in this second half of the key points.
Right, again, in the second quarter, it was a game of runs. We had an 8-0 run for the Singapore Slingers, and then coming back the other way with a 6-0 run for the Saigon Heat. But then towards the end, a few turnovers, and we're looking at the turnover story here. Saigon Heat, surprisingly, only 8 turnovers. It felt like a lot more than that in the first half. 5 turnovers for Singapore.
It did, and sometimes those turnovers can lead directly to transition points. That being said, the Heat's bench is contributing a little bit more than the Slingers have, and at 8-1 and a 7-point difference, that's what's got this game so close.
Well, again, for the Saigon Heat, to make that for the Singapore Slingers, Xavier Alexander is only 2 of 11 from the field. They are letting him shoot. And Chancellor Geddes, who started out 3 of 3, finished 5 of 11 in the first half. However, they are not, make that as the, Xavier Alexander is not yet in double figures. 2 players in double figures here for Singapore, and Geddes with a total of 10. And the leading scorer of the game right now, Kentrell Barkley, with 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting.
And neither team shooting the ball well from the perimeter. Let's see if one of these teams can get it going from three-point range.
Nobody yet in double figures here for the Saigon Heat. Alexander tees up once again, and he opens the third with a set shot 3.
Right behind the screen, Tim Wall being extremely physical on that screen, so X just decided to shoot it instead of use it and go to the rack.
Saigon now up by 5, 39-34 in a game that will clinch the playoffs for them. A win by Singapore. Oh!
And no foul called there, surprising. Great execution from the Saigon Heat. Got him on the pick and roll there, on the head fake. Got the Singapore Slinger defender in the air. He's hurt now, but I thought it's because he came down on the Heat player and he didn't get the foul call.
And again, nothing malicious about what Jeremy Combs did. He just did a fake and went up for a shot. It was just really a bad spot there for Delvin Goh.
Absolutely. Once he left his feet, you're in a really vulnerable position. And if a guy's head fake, there's not much you can do but hope that he doesn't create too much contact with you.
Looks like he's favoring the shoulder here, Coach.
Absolutely, and that was a basket, but with all the contact that was created, there was no foul call there.
Right.
We're going to go the other direction because they're letting him play, but Go's certainly feeling it.
You see there, Coach Matt Van Pelt earlier took a shot of Coach Neo Beng Siak. Delvin Goh is made of stern stuff, Coach. He's going to walk this one off.
Oh, he's been through this a number of times. We've been watching him play physical basketball around the rim for a decade here in Southeast Asia.
Looks like he's going to take a seat for the moment. We're going to have Kelvin Lim come in for him.
That being said, when you have that much contact, I'm not too sure what occurred that there wasn't a whistle.
So we resume play right now with the score 39-36 in favor of the Singapore Slingers. Kelvin Lim. They get it to X once again. They get a 3 right there earlier. Now get it picked from Geddes. Geddes back out again to Alexander. 5 on the shot clock for Xavier Alexander. Larry Liu lines one up. And he is continuing to struggle coming off the bench.
And you can see Holder really kicking up his defense against Barkley on the weak side. He's not in help side at all. He's trying to deny Barkley the ball. They're trying to shut him down.
Well, turnover number 9 there for the Saigon Heat.
Here's the matchup again you can see for the Slingers down here on offense. And look at Holder's effort right here. Barkley gets the ball, but Holder is locked in on making sure he doesn't continue to score.
Barkley with only 3 assists so far. Making 1 assist so far in this game. 3 assists in the first half for Xavier Alexander. Barkley, 6 of 8 in the first half though. 3-pointers a miss. And the Heat once again on offense. Gilliard wanting a clear out here. Is playing against the zone. Thomas, they move it around quickly now. Holder sees an opening, and he will be called for an offensive foul. That's turnover number 10 now for the Saigon Heat.
He extended that left arm just a little too big. You know, you want to create that space, but once you get it extended, if the referee catches you with your hand in the cookie jar, he's going to let it go the other way.
And Dentrell Barkley is actually coming out to be an underrated defender with the way he's been stopping some of these imports for the Saigon Heat.
Absolutely, and they're really trying to get him going the offensive end. Let's continue to watch that battle between he and Holder.
Alexander offline this time. That is tracked down by Thomas. Coming up on 8 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Again, the Saigon Heat already in the playoffs, but they still want to keep in pace with the NS Matrix squad. They want that number 1 position. Nice cut inside, and Holder bothered that time by Larry Liu.
Great slip to the basket from Holder and a good find from Combs, but
Barkley underneath. And Wall had no idea where the ball was coming from.
Tim Wall hustling but falling asleep in terms of vision of the basketball. He was in good position, didn't even see the pass coming.
41-36, Singapore following the game plan to a T. Almost another turnover. That is broken up by Larry Liu.
Great hustle from Larry, knowing that there was a mismatch there on the post. The Saigon Heat were trying to get it to. He came from the backside, poked that ball out of bounds.
Chan Kwa has come back in the game. He had an impact in the first half off the bench. That pass is tapped. And a turnover now going the other way once again. Turnover number 11 now. That is another turnover forced, however, here by the Saigon Heat. Gilliard gets it inside. Thomas with a slam. Hassan Thomas cuts it down to 3. Coming up on 7 minutes here in the third. Barkley looking for Geddes in the post. And a jumper deep 2 coming there from Kelvin Lim. So back to a 5-point lead now for the Heat, 43-38. Gilliard looking for any post option he can find.
And the Slingers really looking to sag and help on that mismatch on the block.
Right.
The Saigon Heat are going to have to attack it from the high post area.
Oh! Straightaway 3 coming from Holder. So Jarius Holder able to cut the lead down to 2, 43-41. Kelvin Lim,
Great weak side help from Quad Chan to stifle the play of the Slingers, then closing back out to X, forcing a turnover. Just a heads-up play.
That's right, Larry Liu was called for steps that time, Coach. So the turnovers now also starting to creep up on the side of the Slingers. This is a very loud house. I'm not quite sure if you can actually hear and experience it the way we are experiencing, Coach.
And with 16 and a half minutes left, it's not going to get any quieter, Noel.
Especially if your team is still behind by 2.
Our fans need to buckle up. We're going to have to have a great last 15, 16 minutes here of good basketball in the ABL.
Chan to inbound after they clear up something. Boy, the Thundersticks are also hitting the floor right now with some of those kids. I do love it here in the ABL because even the PA announcer can get into it as well.
Come fourth quarter, we're going to have to duck us to not get hit by one of these Thundersticks. Right. No, survival of the fittest for us.
Holder, no. Good defense that time by the veteran Xavier Alexander.
Good
under 6 minutes,
tape, but he just couldn't finish with that left hand.
Almost got it done, though. Geddes finally gets it, but he's way out of the low block.
And they continue to put the young heritage player Hassan Thomas on the big fella Geddes.
Right.
because of his hustle and physical post play, and it pays off.
Holmes with a defensive stop, and the Saigon Heat get the ball back, and Delvin Gall looks like he's shaken off the fall earlier. They need his wide body in there, Coach Todd.
And I'm loving the hustle and the physicality of young Hassan Thomas playing against the bigger man Getty right now. He's fighting him in the post, trying to take him outside on the offensive end, and trying to limit his advantage around that paint area.
Hilliard leaves Barkley, gets it out, quick passing right here, three-pointer on its way. That is a miss by Holder. And Barkley now breaks out of the pack, over to Delvin, go blocked from behind. Great chase down there coming from Combs. And he throws it away again. The 12th turnover of the game for the Heat.
And you're exactly right. Great chase down block. We're seeing complete and total hustle by both teams in transition, giving up nothing easy. You got to take your hat off to both coaches who got their teams prepared here in coaching.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen the scoreboard move here, Coach Todd. 43-41, yeah.
And not for lack of effort, but this is a defensive game that both teams are giving everything they've got.
That's going to be poked out of bounds and will stay with the Slingers with 7.4 seconds remaining on their shot clock.
Yeah, this is not a matter of just poor shooting. This is a matter of guys playing defense, diving for extra possessions and loose balls, making it difficult.
Alexander, Geddes, go on the drive. Delvin one fake and has it taken away by Hilliard.
On cue. More hands in the defensive passing lanes, more turnovers.
Chan steps back a bit. Chan drives to the crossover and he gets the layup to drop.
Mr. Wiggles going down the middle of the lane. Nobody challenging him, so he says, I'll take the bucket and hustle on back.
And he has tied this game up at 43. 4:25 remaining here in the third. Barkley, tough shot. Hilliard on the outlet now. Going to Holder. They get it out. Hassan Thomas for three. And that is a wedgie. I have not seen one this year.
We'll get a jump ball possession arrow on this one, but Saigon Heat relentless in their pursuit in transition, and the fans waiting to explode on that Hassan after three. It just got stuck on the rim.
Saigon Heat have the possession arrow, and they will also have 14 seconds to shoot.
So they're going to run flat right here, pass it to one of the big men who pop up, and we're going to see a flare on the weak side.
Hilliard. Oh, nice drop pass inside. It was read, however, by Geddes. 13 turnovers now for the Heat. Geddes a full head of steam, getting it to Barkley for the easy layup. 45-43, Singapore.
Can't help but feel nervous when your big man's handling the ball up top, but he made the right dive right there and got out of the way.
Great timing, too, on the pass. He didn't need the dribble. Chan getting it inside now to Combs, and that's going to be a bump called. I believe Delvin Gore, the guilty party.
Real nice timing on the pass from Quad Chan, baiting that defense to the middle before he dimes his teammate, bump on the ground, and now they'll get the ball inside. Actually, they're going to call us a baseline out of bounds. Again, we're here with the flat set.
Thomas on the penetration, running hook, this will work. Good defense that time by Geddes. Here's Barkley once again, and he will get that high off the glass. Good defense again by the Heat. You know, the transition defense for both teams, Coach Todd, has been very, very good in this game.
It really has, but I'd like to see them impact the ball handler a little bit higher. What you saw was Barkley get that ball down to the free throw line and below, and that's tough to stop. You want to impact him up top at the three-point line.
Not good spacing here between Geddes and Alexander. Geddes takes a three of his own, and he comes up short, and Chan is ahead of the pack here. Chan with a layup, good! Barkley is upset at himself for not giving a better chase there, Coach Todd.
Quad Chan sizing up the defense. He can look back to see where they were and got the early finger roll to the enjoyment of the crowd.
My goodness, we have not had an overtime game yet so far here. But the way these two teams are playing, it could be a stalemate. 45 all.
I'd love to put in 5 minutes of overtime.
I believe a blocking foul will be whistled here as Xavier Alexander made his move. And he is exchanging words here with the youngster, Chanqua.
Perfect. Veteran trying to impose his will. Youngster trying to step up and let him know I'm not going to be punked. No cheap shot there. We'll move forward.
And again, Xavier Alexander knows how to get a rise out of his opponents, but also knows how to get a rise out of the crowd. He loves being the villain sometimes.
He knows exactly what he's doing. The veteran here, he knows how to get to the rack. He knows how to get to the free throw line. Just an all-around champ.
He is inbounding now from the baseline, talking about Xavier Alexander. Geddes. Nice cut here coming from Ma, and he scores.
Crafty finish as Holder was sizing him up with the block, but missed it.
47-45 now. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the third. Low-scoring affair, but a quality ball game between two teams. Atop the team standings, of course, Singapore wants to win this to officially clinch the playoffs. And, of course, eliminate the Zamboanga Valientes in the process. Nice shovel pass inside. Thomas. Good recovery that time by Barkley.
A lot of contact. Referees letting them play there.
Ma hemmed in. They're looking for travel. Chan takes it away. 4-on-2 going the other way for the Heat. They go to the other side. Gilliard for the lead. Can't get it to drop. Thomas blocked from behind by Alexander.
And either one of those shots falling, the crowd would have gone into a frenzy. But Singapore Slingers continuing to battle on the defensive end.
Pass too high that time for Delvin Gall. Gilliard retains control of the basketball. Three-pointer offline from Holder. And Delvin Gall wants to settle things down now for the Slingers. 1 minute and 40 to go here in the third.
No, you can feel the electricity here in the stadium.
Yep.
They are waiting to explode at the first run Saigon Heat make.
Oh! Delvin Go, not known for shooting the threes, Coach Todd, but he gets that set shot to drop, and now a 5-point lead for Singapore.
You've seen Delvin Go operate so often around the basket. If he's going to make 3 points against you as well, tough night.
Gilliard gets away from everyone, but couldn't finish. Oh, it's lost out of bounds by Xavier Alexander. And a technical foul, it appears, has been called on Gilliard.
Fortuitous bounce for the Saigon Heat. Gilliard's frustration after he thought he was fouled on that perimeter play, and the referee teeing him up, getting a little sensitive. It's an emotional game. Gilliard feeling the way he thought he was hit right there. Tough call for the Saigon Heat.
And again, you've got a veteran officiating crew. They will not hesitate to call a technical foul on you if you get out of line, especially Nelson Chan out of Malaysia, who has been in a lot of finals, who has been selected as one of the finals referees in all of the seasons that he has been with the ABL.
And this hurts, Noel. It's an emotional game, and that was a close play. Whether the call was right or not, he felt a bit of emotion, but the referee was awfully quick with that technical foul. It's going to give up points, and you hate to see that change the momentum of the game.
Well, let's see if that does change the momentum of the game, because the Saigon Heat still have the possession. 14 to shoot, 51-45, a 6-point lead now for the Singapore Slingers. Inbound goes all the way out.
Let's go, Saigon, let's go!
And here's Combs, picked up by the smaller Larry Liu. Combs tries to drop it in, another turnover against the Heat. Alexander in the front court, lost the ball. And there will be a late whistle, and another technical foul is going to be called, this time on X.
Wow. The officials putting their imprint on this game right now. They're establishing that they won't hear any back talk. At the same time, we're watching a great game, and you don't want to see it decided by free throws. Let's let these fellas play.
Well, they called the foul on Gilliard, but then the reaction after that from Xavier Alexander had the crew chief, Natapong Jontapa, calling him for a technical foul.
What I've seen here, Noel, I've seen a very fair play game. Two teams really going at each other. Let's not let this get out of control and turn it into a free throw contest of emotion. These guys are playing hard. Let's let them play through this.
Well, the free throw has to drop by Gilliard. And it sounds like he made a three-point shot from where we're sitting right here. But 51-46. The foul was on Gilliard, non-shooting variety.
And Coach Neo still jawing with the official. Neither coach happy with the officiating over the last minute. Let's see if they can get themselves refocused.
Shot clock at 19 now for the Singapore Slingers. Barkley left open. And get it to go. Oh, Barkley gets it back from Geddes. It's like everybody just stopped there for Saigon. There was no, I don't believe there was a horn. I think it's one of the fans was blowing a horn here or something.
No, I thought I heard a horn as well, like some of the players.
Here's Holder now, getting inside, and he gets the end-one opportunity. Alexander is on the bench right now.
And no, we're hearing a lot of whistles right now.
Yeah.
I think the referees are trying to get a grip on this game as emotions are running high and both teams are attacking. We're hearing a lot of whistles in order to slow things down and let them make sure they've got control of the game.
Well, you have to remember, Coach Todd, that this could be potentially a first-round matchup in the playoffs. If you think about it.
Absolutely. Great call by you, Noel.
If Saigon actually goes on to become the #1 seed and Singapore stays at #4, they capture #4, we could have this matchup once again.
And that being said, neither team in the bonus. So we haven't had excessive foul calls by the officials. They're just trying to keep control of the game.
Less than 20 seconds remaining. 8-second difference between the clocks here in the third. 53-49 in favor of Singapore. Kelvin Lim.
What a nice touch on the right-hand jump hook from the mid-post area.
Chan on the penetration this time. Geddes was ready. They're going to call the goaltend, it appears.
There was definitely a whistle, and we may have a review here.
We could have a review here because if they're going to call Geddes for the goaltend, now two things will be reviewed. Was it goaltending, #1? #2, was the goaltend still within regulation because the buzzer had already sounded?
I think it was within regulation, and I definitely heard the whistle.
And there it is, they counted.
And they're going to count it, Noel, as we thought.
Goaltending is the official call on that shot. So we end the third quarter officially now, Coach Scott Burbs, with a score 55 for the Singapore Slingers, 51 for the Saigon Heat. Fasten your seatbelts. We are going to have a fourth quarter of epic proportions when we return right here in Vietnam.
What can they do? On one for the finish. Five seconds to go. Speed towards the basket for two.
Action has resumed here, ladies and gentlemen, at the Nguyen Tu Stadium here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. 55-51. Singapore Slingers up by 4 against Saigon Heat. Noel Zanate with Coach Todd Burbs. And the turnovers remain the story of the game so far here, Coach Todd.
Agreed. They remain fairly close, but whichever team can take better care of the ball and execute in the half court during this fourth quarter is likely to be the team that comes out on top.
7 turnovers apiece for both teams there in quarter number 3. That brings us the total now for the Saigon Heat to 15 in the game. It's still quite high.
It is. You want to keep that number around 12 or so for the full game, but both teams, you can see what's at stake by the emotion involved. Physicality's turned up, and it's made it more challenging for the officials, who've done a wonderful job keeping control of the game with both.
Alexander missing on the first, Coach Neal on the right, Michael Johnson on the left. They have been together for so many years, developing the Singapore Slingers franchise. 2 misses at the line for Xavier Alexander. You can't hear yourself think in this crowd.
You really can't. And this Saigon Heat crowd ready to explode on a big play here.
Holder. Gilliard took a breather at the end of that third quarter. Chan, shot clock at 3. Chan puts it up, no. And Barkley collects the rebound.
Gilliard's hesitation move is so quick, I don't know how anyone stays in front of him at all.
Alexander now feeding the post. They drop down to a zone once again. Geddes has not scored since the first quarter. Oh, missed there by Xavier Alexander, point blank. They try to get it back in, and a foul is going to be called on Jeremy Combs. You do not see that often with Xavier Alexander at point blank range. Just missing.
Absolutely missing that money. They really had to help out with the big fella Geddes. They thought he had an advantage, and he got the view of his teammate in the corner, but Xavier Alexander unable to confirm that nice little pass.
Right. Jeremy Combs is going to be called for his second. He's stuck on 9 points right now. Kessler Geddes cannot create space. Out to Delvin Gaw. Shot clock now at 6 for the Slingers. Gaw bobbles, almost lost it. Larry Liu has to put this one up. Off the glass, almost.
And Hassan Thomas working his tail off defensively, not only to guard the bigger Geddes, but to step out on the pick and challenge that shot.
Gilliard now working against Barkley, giving up a lot of inches there. Thomas thinking 3. Gets it over to the side. Thomas can't hit it. 3-pointer going back the other way, and that one will drop for Holder.
Oh, we talked about it all week. The offensive rebound to the open 3. Dangerous, and Saigon Heat cashing in right there.
Darius Holder has cut the lead down to just 1 with under 8 minutes remaining here in the fourth. Singapore 55, Saigon 54, and Barkley manufactures free throws.
Just bowling his way to the rim against Holder. He had one vision, and that was, I'm getting to the rack.
And he did get to the rack. Went up against 3 defenders, no less. Ma will return now for Singapore. So Ma Jun Hao will replace Larry Liu. Cantrell Barkley came into this third quarter with a total of 22 points. Silencing the crowd for a moment here in Ho Chi Minh.
A brief moment, though. They're ready to still explode once the Saigon Heat can make their run.
2 for 2 for Barkley, up now to 24 points. He's the game-high scorer. Only one person in double figures so far for the Saigon Heat, and that is Jarius Holder, who's got 13. Drive by Holder, tries to drop it inside. Thomas. Win Fu Vin is back in the game. He hit a 3 in the first half. Deep 3, rejected that time by Barkley. Here comes Barkley on offense, and he will finish with a layup. 5-point lead now for Singapore, and a quick timeout by Scott Van Pelt. Or make that
Matt Van Pelt.
Matt Van Pelt. Scott
Absolutely.
Van Pelt is a broadcaster.
He is, with the bald head and the glasses.
Yeah.
I love him. Matt Van Pelt with the quick timeout there, and a good timeout. You don't want to let this game start to get out of reach. 5 points, nothing. He's going to regroup right now, make a couple of adjustments.
Well, Coach Matt does have a few adjustments to make. Probably the first agenda is how to generate more points coming from somebody whose name is not Jarius Holder, because right now we can just see our second guy in double figures here for the Saigon Heat. Picking up another basket there was Gilliard, who's got a total of 10 points, but you need a lot of offense at this point of the game. Yeah, the defense is great there, Coach, but you're still down by 5.
Agreed, and I would expect to see Gilliard go ahead and be the guy who's the engineer for this offense here. Matt Van Pelt likely to draw something up with Gilliard as the catalyst, getting one of his big men either a roll to the rim or a really wide open three-point shot. But they've got to get stops on defense.
Well, at least the turnovers have gone down, at least here in the start of the fourth quarter for Matt Van Pelt and the rest of the Saigon Heat. Now against Singapore, we all know Coach Neo, Michael Johnson, they always cook up a great game plan. They've followed it to a T right now, keeping this game low scoring. Nelson Chan, of course, one of our referees, chatting it up now with Coach Matt Van Pelt. There was a time in the third quarter where we had 2 technical fouls called on both sides.
No doubt he and Coach Matt are only talking about good restaurants to go for tonight. Nothing else involved here in this tight game.
Yeah, Nelson Chan would know where to go in Kuala Lumpur, that's for sure. High off the glass. Doesn't work for Thomas.
And Matt Van Pelt tried to go to the mismatch of the big fella Gades and his slower feet against Hassan, but he wasn't able, Hassan Thomas wasn't able to get that bucket.
Delvin Go hit a 3 earlier. This is a broken play now for the Slingers. They go to Geddes, out again to Go. This time he puts it on the floor and lost possession. And no one touched it after it went off his knee. And again, when you have a broken play, Coach, you need to have your point guard reestablish what you drew up.
You need to have the next plan when you have a broken play for what you'll do at the end of the shot clock. Normally it's a high pick or an ISO for your point guard.
Holder gets it out once again to Thomas. Shot clock at 7 now. Holmes. Gilliard. Holder lets it fly. Rebound picked up by Thomas. And Thomas can get it to go. He's wearing that old Dennis Rodman number when he was still playing for Detroit.
He is, you know, we're watching Holder back his man down and get great position, but did not go for the bucket. He's taking it back outside with it. He did not have an advantage.
Again, the Slingers enjoying a 5-point lead. Geddes gets to the rim. Biggest lead of the game now for Singapore at 7 points, 61-54.
And they're looking to go down to the big fella Geddes against Hassan Thomas, who's a real strong player, but a little bit undersized. And Saigon Heat may have to double or dig or help out on that situation.
Holder drives, dishes it inside, one fake. That's going to be an easy layup that time, coming to Combs. 61-56, 5:35 to play in the fourth. Slingers hoping to clinch today. Saigon hoping to deny that.
And Saigon's gone into a 2-3 zone. No.
Right. Oh! Geddes lost his balance that time.
Gambling and it paid off.
Holmes, all sorts of problems handling the ball. Here comes Xavier Alexander, and he's going to stuff it in.
Wow. Wow. Loose ball, transition play, no call on the play, they'll let him go, and Saigon Heat need to come back from it.
Then Nelson Chan is going to stop the action for the moment. There is a slick spot on the floor.
Well, Combs seems shaken up because he thought he was fouled there at the halfway mark, around half court, but apparently the referees don't think so, and it just wetted the floor. So we'll take a little timeout, and they'll dry it up and keep playing.
Well, we got 5:05 remaining, and you and I know that this is still a long ways to go before deciding the winner of this game.
Absolutely. Great matchup. Both teams going right back and forth at each other.
Well, I know one team that is rooting for the Saigon Heat here. It is the Zamboanga Valientes.
Without question. They've got their screamers and horns out. The Saigon Heat.
Yep, Gilliard on the penetration. He's got 12 in the game and cuts the lead down to 5. Defense, the chant here. Backdoor cut now for Barkley. Lost the handle and lost the ball. Gilliard now to the front court. He's trying to dance his way around Xavier Alexander.
Xavier Alexander's going to have a hard time staying in front of Gilliard, as will the big man for sure.
Geddes now. Three-pointer Gilliard. Offline. Tap inside and win. Move in. Gets the tip in. Coach Leo Ben Shot will call a timeout, and here come the Saigon Heat down by only 3. It is 63 for the Slingers, 60 for Saigon. We'll be back. Stay with us. The Thunder Sticks are real here in Ho Chi Minh.
Deafening here at Winzhou Gymnasium, and we've got a barn burner, Noel.
Right, with 4:19 remaining here in the fourth, the lead has been trimmed down to 3 points from a high of 7 for the Slingers. It is now 63-60. Well done, they're still working alongside Coach Todd Burbs. Now at this point, you feel momentum going back to the Saigon Heat. What's it going to take for them to sustain this?
It's really going back and forth. Neither team in foul trouble. Neither team really asserting themselves as the team who's going to extend this lead. We may have a game that comes right down to the final seconds.
Well, nobody also in foul trouble. That's also the good news here. Gilliard's got a total of 3 fouls. That's about it. And over at the other side, Larry Yu also has 3 fouls, along with Ma Jun Hao. So none of the imports in foul trouble here.
And some real interesting matchups out there right now. Hassan Thomas on Xavier Alexander.
Gall faking the pass over the X. Shot clock at 1. Larry Liu forces it up. Good stop again by the Saigon Heat. Now a chance to inch even closer.
Big time defensive stop from the Heat. Now let's see what they're looking to get out of the timeout.
Jarius Holder. Oh. We'll get to the free throw line.
Absolutely. A couple of free throws here. Again, neither team in foul trouble in particular, but these are going to be free throws to close this gap.
Well, that's on Larry Liu. That will be number 4 on the veteran. So he becomes the first endangered species in this game. So at the free throw line now, Jarius Holder. He has been very aggressive with his offense. But his free throw shooting leaves a lot to be desired at this point. Got to have total quiet here in Saigon, though. It's like watching somebody with a putt. There you go.
And from 4 feet, he drops
Yeah,
it.
that's right. You got to channel your inner golf fan there.
One basket game right now, Noel, and the crowd ready to explode.
3.5 remaining here. This game is still in the balance. 63, Singapore, 61 for Saigon. And another turnover. A chance to tie or take the lead now for the Heat. They're going for the lead. Gilliard gives them the lead.
Gilliard in transition with the big man going down the lane. I thought he'd dime him for the layup, but he felt it himself and banged home the dagger late here in the fourth.
Evan Gilliard puts Saigon up by 1, 64-63. Timeout, Singapore. This is one moment that's going on her Instagram right now. 64 for the Saigon Heat, 63 for the Singapore Slingers after Evan Gilliard just threw one up from about 26 feet away and made it in transition.
Big time bucket from Gilliard. I thought he might penetrate a little bit and give it up, but he knew to himself, I've got this, coach. I'll take all 3 of them, and we'll get back the other direction.
And if we were feeling out where the momentum was coming off that last time up, momentum now definitely on the side of the charges of Matt Van Pelt at this point. But it's still not over. We are still approaching the 3-minute mark here in the fourth. Only 1 timeout remaining for the Slingers for the rest of the way.
And Matt Van Pelt going a little bit bigger here with Fu Ving as one of the local players out there instead of Quad Chan or Tim Wall.
That is a big lineup out there for the red shirts of the Saigon Heat.
No doubt trying to match up with the big lineup of Singapore.
Geddes. Drive by Alexander. He is blocked. He gets it back. Alexander, shot clock did not reset. Delvin go extra pass to Geddes. Beating the shot clock.
Right as the shot clock expired, Geddes with the bucket.
Geddes now up to 14 in the game. It is 65 for the Slingers. 64 for the Heat. 2:35 to play in regulation.
Hassan Thomas really calling for the ball down low. Didn't receive it.
Uh-oh, three-pointer, and that is good for the win. Boom, in.
The entire city of Ho Chi Minh knew that shot was going down. We've watched Phu Vinh do this for years in big situations.
Geddes throws it away once again as we now have 2:16 remaining. Heat up by 2, 67-65. Brace yourselves for a big wind-up here, folks. Combs, Holder, wanting to run the pick and roll. Good defense so far by Singapore. Penetration, Gilliard on the drop-off. He could have taken the shot. Instead, he will not be taking free throws.
He won't, as they're not in the bonus, and the Singapore Slingers coming up lucky right there as he dimed the big man, which would have been an easy two-point basket right here for Combs. Instead, foul on the ground, and they'll get the side out of bounds or baseline out of bounds play here.
That's going to cost the Slingers Larry Liu, who's just fouled out of this game. Fouling out with just 1 point. 2:01 to play.
Phu Vinh continuing to be a big factor in the game right now. As I said, Matt Van Pelt going a little big right now with his 6'8" forward.
Gilliard now still being watched by Barkley. Shot clock now at 5. Holder for 3. And Barkley gets it now for Singapore with 1:43 to go. Geddes. Alexander using the Geddes pick right now. Going cross-court. Shot clock at 5. Geddes, 2 seconds to shoot. They get it out. Three-pointer on his way. Ma hits it.
Huge bucket as the shot clock expires. Great pass from Geddes after he drew the double team and the help defense.
Ma Jun Hao has given the lead to Singapore, 68-67. 1:12 to go. Gilliard, pursued by 2 defenders. This is going nowhere fast for the Heat. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Gilliard still in the long court. Gilliard on the penetration. Can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Geddes didn't even have to jump, but he lost it. And a blocking foul will be called on Singapore. That's only their 13th foul.
No, great hands from Hassan Thomas on the baseline. After the defensive rebound from the big fella, you'll see him get his hand on it, tipping it back out, giving another possession to the Saigon Heat.
Well, Chancellor Geddes has come up a bit gimpy after that one, Coach.
Let's take a look at this replay and see exactly where they got the additional possession.
Well, we're not going to get to it right now. It appears that the referees are still talking about something that they could review here. They are going to the IRS. Again, we are in the final 2 minutes, actually 53.2 seconds remaining here in regulation. So I'm not quite sure what they're looking for there and the IRS. But everybody gets a free timeout here. Well, not the fans, though.
Correct. No, the fans are going to be fired up for the next minute here. But during this timeout, both teams are talking about who they want to get the ball to in the offensive end and in what situations. You don't have an opportunity right now to waste possessions the way you might early in a game. So you want to tell your team exactly, here's where we want the ball, where we want to get it, and see if you can execute it.
All right, let's see what they're trying to review here. Geddes is called for the foul, and obviously that's where the contact came. Now they're trying to figure out if that was an intentional or an unsportsmanlike foul there by Geddes. From that angle, it didn't look like it, so it's just going to be a regular foul, at least in my opinion. I'm not quite sure what the referees are looking at, but if that's what they're reviewing, it looked like a regular foul.
It appeared to me to be a standard personal foul. I agree with you. No, we'll see if they're looking at maybe the timing on the clock or something of that nature, or the shot clock. But no doubt they'll get it right here with less than a minute left, 1 point game, and everything we'd hope for tonight.
Well, these fans are right beside us, actually. They're the ones making all of this noise. The drums are also right beside us. What an experience being in this building. You know, after getting used to the old CIS building, this is a louder building. Remember, in the Indiana Pacers, when they had in the NBA, the Conseco Fieldhouse, that was a loud place.
I'm familiar with Conseco Fieldhouse, one of the great stadiums in all the world for basketball. It's incredible, but I'll tell you, this noise and excitement here is unbelievable, Noel, and I'm loving it.
It is fantastic to be part of the ABL experience once again. Of course, we are still midstream in our coverage, and of course, in the schedule here, we do still have 2 doubleheaders coming up. One tomorrow, and of course, we wind everything up on Friday rather. But the big question is here for the Singapore Slingers: do they clinch that final playoff berth tonight? Because if they hold on and win this game, the Singapore Slingers will eliminate the Zamboanga Valientes. Now, we're going to look at another angle of what they're trying to look for here. So, actually, this was the big 3 earlier coming from Ma.
And with a 1-point game, less than a minute left with the playoffs on the line, it's everything the ABL fans could ask for right now, no?
Okay, I believe now, because of what Natapong Jontapa signaled, it was an issue with the shot clock. Did possession change when the foul happened? And according to our officials, the shot clock remains at 22.
And with less than a minute, that makes a difference.
Yes.
Whether it's 14 seconds or 22 seconds can change the game and the type of plays you might call determined on possessions.
And Matt Van Pelt is going to use one of his last 2 timeouts to map up something here for the Saigon Heat. Down by 1, Singapore 68, Saigon 67. We'll step away, back in a moment. This game is still in the balance, folks. It is 68 for the Singapore Slingers, 67 for the Saigon Heat. Noel Zanate alongside Coach Todd Purves. And these fans may be exuding a lot of energy right now, but again, they're quite nervous to have their Heat squad down by 1, but still 53.2 seconds. A lot can still happen.
They've been waiting all day for this game, and it's given them everything they've asked for right now. A little zipper action to a high pick.
Yeah, they brought the drums closer to you, Coach.
It looks like they're trying to get Holder involved here with the ball, creating a mismatch. He's going to want to take this guy off the dribble, and he does.
Holder can't get it to go. Rebound Geddes, and a foul is going. Oh, they're going to call a jump ball. Possession arrow remains with Saigon.
And Saigon, he got the matchup they wanted after the switch. Holder went hard to the rack, couldn't get the ball to fall there, but they were able to tie him up on the offensive rebound in order to get another possession.
And again, credit on the tie-up there to Hassan Thomas. Did not give up on the play. 14 to shoot, yeah.
Absolutely. Baseline out of bounds play here with plenty of time. 14 seconds to shoot on the shot clock, and you have to start to consider the entire game clock and the number of possessions you're going to have now.
Well, Bartlett was able to tap that out. 36.2 remaining here. And this 1-point affair, Singapore, the visiting team, up by 1, 68 to 67. They get it to Holder. Been provided by Combs. Holder penetrates, jumps it over. Thomas with the slam! What a way to get the lead back for Saigon!
Great look from Holder, drew the defense in at the last second, diming the diving Hassan Thomas with the exclamation point. The Heat crowd going nuts. Can't wait for this last 25 seconds.
Let's see this one once again, Coach. That was a great drop-off play. But Thomas just saw 1 second of an opening, and Ma was not able to stay with him. And now Singapore has burned their final timeout with 25.8 seconds to go.
And only down one. No doubt Coach Neo's drawing something up special here. That being said, the Saigon Heat could end up with one more possession depending on the time that this shot is taken.
It also depends on where he wants the inbounds to be, because if he brings it to the front court, it's 14 seconds to Singapore. But if he inbounds it all the way from the back court, 24 seconds.
And I believe he'll be inbounding it from the back court. We'll wait to see his decision, but in my opinion, you inbound from the back court because you may only want one shot at this point, and that's less than 2 seconds difference from the game clock. If you move it into the front court, you put 14 seconds, and that means you're automatically going to give 9.8 seconds back to the Saigon Heat for that last possession.
Well, let's see what happens here. We got the lights on as well from some of the phones of the fans. We saw this in the Philippines when Ginebra won their championship against Morocco way back in 2017.
These Saigon Heat fans are prepared. They've got the phones out. They're ready to explode with the close win. And the Slingers have decided to take it in at the half-court mark.
All right,
putting
here we go.
14 seconds on the shot clock and changing the dynamic of the game.
Both teams have a foul to give. Singapore is out of timeouts. Saigon still has one. They have it in the hands of Barkley now. Getting it out to Geddes. Xavier Alexander, the legend, on the drive. Stifled! And it's taken away by Thomas. A foul given up by Geddes with 9.5 seconds remaining.
No, I'm really surprised that the Slingers took it at the half-court spot instead of going with full court and putting the full amount of shot clock time on there, going for that last shot. They elected to go into the half-court with 14 seconds on the shot clock, knowing the Saigon Heat would get a possession. Now, with 9.5 left on the clock, Saigon Heat are going to run Matt Van Pelt's signature line play to get the ball in and expect a foul from the Singapore Slingers right here.
Well, that was a foul to give for Singapore. They're not getting the penalty. This next foul will send a Saigon Heat player to the free throw line. Gilliard wants to waste as much of that time. They did not call the foul. Now they do.
And there was the line play from Van Pelt, the inbounds, and they drew the foul as they hoped. 5.5 seconds. Gilliard a chance to go up by 3 right here.
That's right. Gilliard going to the free throw line. Now the big thing here is Singapore is out of timeouts. They have to run the length of the floor to get off a shot.
And if he makes both these free throws, we can talk about strategy at that point. In which case, the Saigon Heat are going to want to consider fouling on the ground when you're up 3. A very controversial move, about 50-50 from head coaches.
Now, of course, Gilliard still has to make these free throws. Regardless, it's still going to be a one-possession game, but no timeouts remaining for Singapore. Gilliard swishes the first.
And everyone on their feet here in Saigon.
So are we.
Absolutely.
Even the commentators are on their feet.
I couldn't sit down if I wanted to.
One more for Gilliard to force Singapore into a three-point shot. That's a no. They have no more timeouts remaining.
No timeout from either team.
Barkley.
Let's see if they foul them on the ground.
And a foul has been given up. They do have a foul to give with 1.6 seconds remaining.
And they do create that foul, absolutely. I don't think he fouled him intentionally, but it's going to work out the right way.
Right.
The Saigon Heat fouling out, whether on purpose or not, they fouled at the right time. Now you give the Slingers only 1.6 to get this last shot off. No need to guard the basket. Everyone should be outside the three-point line here. It's a 3 or nothing.
Barkley for 3. That's it. And the Saigon Heat come from behind and steer this one 71-68. There's a Bonga Valientes are still alive in the playoff hunt.
Without doubt, and that means we have a showdown with the Slingers and Zamboanga coming up very soon.
71-68 in the final here as the Saigon Heat keep in pace with NS Matrix for that #1 spot in the playoffs. But more importantly, the fans will pay good money to watch this game walk away happy tonight, Coach.
Big win in front of the Saigon Heat home crowd. A real resilient battle. Wonderful job by Coach Matt Van Pelt and his players, and they'll be moving on to the finals.
Well, of course, they are moving to the playoffs first, and they have to make sure that they get that #1 seed. They are right now at that #1 position, but Anything can still happen down the stretch here in the playoffs, but the Saigon Heat, a resilient bunch, as you said, so many heroes stepping up for the Heat in this game, Coach.
A real team effort, and yes, they'll be moving on to that final round, and they really deserved it today with a big victory over a Singapore Slingers team that was relentless. They kept coming the entire time.
Well, we can see some of the highlights here from this game, and of course the crowd very, very pleased with what has happened here, but again, it's still not over. The playoffs are about to begin in the first week of March, I believe, or just towards the end of February. But the Saigon Heat looking good right here. They have tied Ennis Matrix with a record of 10 wins and 3 losses atop the leaderboard. And of course, for the Singapore Slingers, it all boils down now. Coach, can you defeat the Zamboanga Valientes? If not, we're going to have a real complicated ride for that number 4 position.
Looking forward to sharing that game with you, Noel, and we'll see it soon.
And now, we'd like to say thank you to everybody. We have a courtside interview.
We're now live from Winter Stadium, District 1 in Saigon, with one of the most exciting match of top 4. And standing next to me is the MVP game, Jarvis Soto. Jarvis, you probably got a lot to say and a lot of emotion going on.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of emotions. This team beat us by a rebound and by 1 point. So this is our get back game.
So tell me about your preparation for this game, and apparently after the second stop we see a lot of adjustment from Coach Matt Van Pelt. You guys start to push it more into the paint, try to attack the paint and be aggressive. Can you describe it more about it?
Yeah, we just had to get back to playing our game defensively and offensively. Defensively, early on, I took a lot on me, and I got scored on a lot in the second half. I changed that around. I tried to do whatever I could do to help out the team and win.
All right, so what do you want to say to fans in ABL and Saigon Heat right now?
Saigon Heat has the best fans in the league. I love it here.
All right, thank you, and congratulations once again.
Yes, sir.
And that kicked off the 4th day of the 4th stop in the ABL Invitational Tournament with an amazing win for Saigon Heat. Let's come to the next game in the upcoming days, and let's see how the Slingers respond against the Zamboanga Valientes. Thank you.
Jarius Holder finishing, of course, with 19 points to lead the scoring parade here for the Saigon Heat. We'll take a look at the final numbers in this one, Coach. Very, very close win for the Heat.
These numbers are as close as you can get. The bottom line is in that last minute, which team was able to make the crucial plays, and the Saigon Heat just coming up with one more play than the Slingers were able to tonight.
And again, they had the crowd behind them. They were fueled by the crowd. It was a slow start, fell behind by as much as 7 points in the second half. But Coach Matt Van Pelt, he didn't flinch. He got them back in the game. And of course, in the end, it was a 3-point victory.
And we're watching two of the best coaches in all of Southeast Asia go back and forth. So it doesn't surprise me that this came down to a last possession. Just all the credit in the world of the Saigon Heat. But the Singapore Slingers have to regroup immediately.
Right.
As they have a huge game coming up to propel them into that final round in the playoffs.
And we will have more ABL action for you tomorrow, right?
The buzzer. What can they do? On one to the finish. Five seconds to go. Speed towards the basket for 2.
This broadcast of the ABL Basketball League may not be reused in any way, shape, or form without an express written consent of the ABL.